She could cut that out. Irene, yo, he just walked past the camera. All right, she could cut that out.
Yeah.
But I.
Still cry when we fight. Still dream about you and I. Still check my phone every minute. Even when I think I responded. Still text it goodnight. Even when we ain't alright.
Yo, welcome back to the Saturday Hoop podcast. Yo, man, so like I've been hitting y'all in the head with these guests, and we just, I'm always around above average human beings. It don't matter where they from, what they do. For the most part, like I'm always around artists. So I'm an artist. So if you're doing music, then we always gonna click. But today I got my man Bravo OneHunnit. He's a music artist. He's a scholar. He's all about financial literacy and motor. You can see he fit, you know what I'm saying? And he chocolate just like me. Too much chocolate in the room right now. But I got my man Bravo OneHunnit. Welcome to the Saturday Cool Podcast, big bro. He's gonna drop us some good gems. He's gonna talk a little bit about himself and everything like that. So, Bravo, without further ado, like just tell us what's up.
What's up, man? My name Bravo OneHunnit. Man, I'm from Mississippi. I'm from Jackson.
Okay.
Just my kind of like my background or whatnot. Like I grew up in the South, but I got family everywhere. Migrated from the South. Some of my family they moved up north. As far as like the music thing, kind of got into the music thing from like basically like the church. So
Okay.
my grandmother was big in church. My mother was big in church. So I kind of like migrated towards the music through church, and I got a couple of family members that's in the music as well. So
That's fire.
yeah,
That's fire.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
You
Do
know,
you play any instruments?
Nah,
So, right.
I don't play no instrument. Man. I try to beat on the drums a little bit, but nah,
So
not too heavy.
it's just a rapping thing. So how was your upbringing, and how did that like motivate you to kind of like be who you are, right? Like the man we see right here in front of us.
Man, it's kind of like like me just looking at like my family, like especially on my mother's side. Like my father's side was kind of from the South to up north. So of course, my father was there, and his grind. That's kind of where I get it from, as far as like having that entrepreneur spirit. My mother and father, they actually franchised a Domino's Pizza,
Yeah, that's fine.
in Mississippi and Jackson for a while, like for like 10 years.
And this is when you was younger.
Yeah, that's when
So
I was
you
young.
grew up watching productive.
Oh yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
And my grandmother, she was a school teacher for 33 years. So so once I left elementary school, she retired.
Right.
But she was and then my grandfather, he was this is on my mother's side. He was a professional football player,
Right.
and then he ended up going into truck driver. So
Right.
he was a truck driver for like 40 years.
Man.
So and then like all the women on my mother's side, like
Right.
all of them were either teachers, they were from teachers to working on, like for the city, things of that nature. And then like the men in my family, like they either, they all had like productive jobs. So, I grew up around productive citizens, basically like you're not sitting around not being productive.
Right.
Like you have no choice but to be productive. You see what I'm saying? When you see that. And so like, my father, he taught me like, how to be, like to grind. And it's just like, you're going to lose time as far as like family time. You have family, but it's kind of like you have to make that sacrifice.
Right.
So, and what I'm saying, I'm speaking on terms of like, you see like a lot of our people where we can't, we don't have like that financial like structure, and it's kind of like it's not like it's on purpose or it's intentional.
Right.
It's kind of like our way of how we live is not our fault in a sense.
Right.
And it's kind of like I peel the onion back, and it's kind of like, hey, we don't have like these land, we don't have these things.
Right.
But it's kind of like if I go to the other side, it's kind of like, hey, if my people and your people, we went for an interview 60 years ago,
right,
they're gonna tell us to go to the back of the building.
Right.
And it's kind of like my people couldn't get the land that Walmart's on right now. Right. My family couldn't get the land that the mall is on right now. So they couldn't make those big plays. So it's kind of like playing catch up.
Right.
So it's kind of like hard work is what I was used to. I'm saying that to say that it's kind of like hard work is what we're used to.
Right.
And it's kind of like if you get into a conditioned set, like a conditioned mindset where, hey, this is what we see on TV.
Yep.
It's kind of like our people. Like I'm trying to change that. Like that's why I got into the music.
Right.
It's kind of like where you only see where our people are only surrounded by cars,
Yes,
clothes, and the things that you see on the outside where it's not tangible assets.
Yes, sir.
So it's kind of like I'm trying to teach our people about financial literacy,
right,
and the things that are the small things that count. And these are everyday. These are things that you can control and obtain through every day of 9 to 5.
right.
And it's like a lot of people don't understand. It's kind of like they think that you got to have like these big lump sums of cash
Right.
in order to obtain certain like small things that you can obtain, and it's not for you.
Right.
It's more so for your generations.
Right.
Like you're just stacking
Right.
up for your generations.
doing it for
Like
the ones
you're
that's
living
coming
right
after you.
now. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like a lot of people are like, well, I enjoy myself later, but you can't do it like that.
Right.
So you gotta enjoy yourself on the way.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
it's kind
sir.
of like, yeah, you may get to a point where it's just like, for example, I'll just use this for example. Like my uncle, he worked the pipeline. He worked steel pipeline in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So this was USM.
Right.
So he was right there, like right around the way from USM where William Carey College is.
Okay.
But he worked like the steel pipeline, Price Brothers. That's the name of it. Man, my uncle did that for 40 years. He did that for like 40 years.
Mhm.
Last 2 years of his life, last 2 years of his life, he found out that he got cancer. It was so bad by then, he ended up developing terminal cancer.
Right.
So I say that to say what I just said, that you have to enjoy yourself on the
Yeah,
way.
On the
You
way.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you think that
Enjoy
you're just
the
gonna enjoy
journey.
yourself when, oh yeah, now I'm retired, now I can just go do whatever.
Right.
It might not
You
have
gotta
it,
have that.
you know, and that's what everybody like.
And I
Eh,
feel like
go ahead.
sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
you
feel
good.
like you enjoy yourself along the way when you genuinely enjoy what you're doing. Like everything you spoke, I definitely grab like the financial literacy, like you trying to bring a change to the narrative, like with the hard work that you've been around, the educated people that you grew up around. It's you wanna do all that work, right?
Yeah.
But you want to create something for some generational wealth
Yep.
for your kids in the future.
Mhm.
But while you're doing that, enjoying what you do, doing things that really brings you, like you really got to be a part of it. That's really being linked to the journey.
Right.
Nah, I like that. I like
Right.
that. So you talk about financial literacy in
Yep.
some of your songs.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I got a personal question for
Okay.
you as an artist,
Go
because
ahead.
I'm an artist, right?
Right.
And then, like you said, us as black men try to. It's hard to stay away from the narrative, the fancy clothes, and the car.
Yep.
I make music that's like natural to me and my story. I've
Right.
talked about my divorce. I've talked about, things that went on in my life. And sometimes it's hard not to get in the booth and make a song that I know people
Yeah.
gonna be like, they don't
Right.
even care what I'm
Yeah.
saying. How do you fight that off? How do you fight that urge?
So that's good. It's because it's supposed to be 90% you,
Right.
10% entertainment.
Uh-huh.
So it's okay if you're making songs that's entertainment.
Right.
It's okay.
Mhm.
Like music, for the most part, some of it, like I said, like 90% you is just 90% you.
Yes, sir.
But the 10% entertainment shouldn't take over what you have. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like the real you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's okay to make entertainment songs because you're making money. But at the same time, how I want people to view me is like, hey, when he's talking about these things, like you put two and two together, where it's like he's talking about financial literacy. Like,
Right.
this is really it.
Right.
Or some of the things I talk about is past tense.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like I don't want to promote where it's just like I don't want people to when if I'm saying something where it's just like, whoa, that sounds kind of, but it's kind of like it's a past tense thing.
Right.
That's not no everyday. It's not no. I don't want anybody to live on the edge, live in violence, like, and that's what I don't want. That's why like it's taking over like financial literacy, like teaching.
Yep.
Because I just recently, August, a day before my birthday, I recently just had a childhood friend, like me and him came up together, like
Right.
grew up together, wore each other clothes. He just got a life sentence, no parole. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I just had a little cousin. I just had one of my little cousins go in.
Right.
Then I have another cousin that's in. I
Right.
got
I
like
feel you,
family
yeah.
members and I like that are in, and
Yep.
then these are not, and it's not small charges. It's
Right.
it's on that type of
These
time
big boy
where it's
numbers.
like life.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. And that's like 4 or 5 people, two or 3 just got out. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like
Yep.
So it's kind of like I want to set the center where it's just like I can talk about all that.
Right.
I could be on all that. But
Right.
it's kind of like if you look around, where it's just like he got all these friends. It seems it's kind of like you can put two and two together. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's kind of like I don't want to be on this type of platform and promote it. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, yeah, a
There's
lot of
already
people it's
enough
just like
of it out there.
right. It's kind of like a lot of people they want to make their money, and I understand like they want to feed their families, and I get that. But some people like the youth, they're like they're what word am I looking for? Like they're inspired by that,
Right.
and they grasp on it, they hold on to that. So,
Right.
but if you're talking about stuff that they don't understand, they're kind of like, this music all right, but they're not used to that.
Right.
So just think about if our artists started talking about financial literacy.
Right.
What do you think everybody be on?
Everybody be on financial. You're right. You're right. It's just like who you surround yourself with, right? Like I read a book every night. So every night I read 10, 15 pages of a book, right? So that's the last thing that's going. What I'm reading is what I'm digesting, is what I'm sleeping on.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So when I wake up, my attitude is completely different, right? If I went to sleep and I listen to Get Rich or Die Try every night, but when I wake up, that's what type of time I'm gonna be on.
Right.
So I understand that completely. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
So it's kind of like conditioned minds, man. It's
Right.
kind of like you programming yourself. Like you program to where you want to take yourself to.
Right.
They don't understand. A lot of people are like, well, we just hear the same thing over and over. Every time I look at algorithm, everybody's saying the same thing. I'm like, no, but obviously it's some truth to it.
Right.
If you program yourself, you just like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. This is my purpose. I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Right. I feel inspired by that, by your message, because like you look at somebody like Jay-Z, right? And we look at what Jay-Z, I remember there was an argument going around social media. I think it was the God Did song. They were talking about Jay-Z's verse, and he's like, and then there was an interview with Kevin Hart as well. And he was like, of course, Jay is talking different now, because look at his life right now. He's talking relative to now. So he's talking about things that you can't, if you're not trying to get on this level, you can't relate to. And I feel like you as a more like local artist, you know what I'm saying? The world don't know you yet, but the world will, right? As a more local artist right now, to stick to your guns, right? Because Jay-Z talked about what was relative to Jay-Z in 99. You know what I'm saying? Now the Jay-Z back then couldn't keep up with the Jay-Z now, right? But you choosing to do that now before the 200 million streams come in. You choosing to do that now. So that's kind of like inspirational, like. And I think the generation coming up after us is a little more prone and privy to that, because they want knowledge. Right. These, like, you can say whatever you want about this new the social media generation. They want knowledge. They want to be inspired and motivated. So it's like that is dope.
Right.
It's dope.
And a lot of people so this is another thing. So I do what I want because I can.
Right.
And that's based off the financial backing that I have.
Right.
If nobody's sponsoring me, you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a lot of people, they don't, like in the music game, they don't have that financial backing.
Right.
It's all you can put on all the facade all you want to. But I know. I know about this business side. I know about business more than I know about the music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the business, you can't fool me on it. This is what I do. Like, this is really what I do. I've been around business since birth.
Right.
So it's kind of like you can't fool me. So it's kind of like I do what I want when I want. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
and that's what that means more to me than anything.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I want to talk about what I want to talk about, and it's based off of, because I don't want anyone to get the wrong interpretation of who I am.
Right.
Everything I'm talking about, that's what I was on. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like now I'm moving in that direction where it's kind of like, hey, it's more about these finances. Like every time you click on a song now, it's giving you something. If you really look into it. Or it's kind of like where I'm gonna put on my website. You can consult with me.
Yes, sir.
I got a consultant. You want me to break stuff down to you? Just kind of like click the link on my business page, and I'll show you the consultant fee. You see what I'm saying? But it's a consultant fee with it.
Right.
But it's game. And a lot of people, they don't understand. They're just like, okay, you gotta do that. A lot of people are not patient. You know what I'm saying? They had that microwave thinking. Like, you can't be like that. This is a slow cook. This is a slow cook. It's a slow cook.
I like that.
It's not the microwave thinking. A lot of people don't understand that. You just said Jay-Z in 99.
Yeah.
It's 2023.
Yes, sir.
So this man been in the game, and he was in the game before that.
Yes, sir.
Before 99. So he's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand. I was like, Jay-Z is what, he's in his 50s now? He's like early 50s,
he's
right?
like early 50s.
Late 40s,
40s.
early 50s.
He's got
So
to be like 50.
So he's been, that's what I'm saying, he's been in the game 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
If I put two and two together, I could have had 2 careers.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand that. Even with Jay-Z now, he's like, man, he $1 billion. Like, you're absolutely right. But you know how many sacrifices Jay-Z had to do?
Slow
A
cook.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
And do we think Jay-Z had the financial backing when he first started out?
Nah.
I'm telling you, this still takes money and financial backing. So it's kind of like somebody can't pull the wool over my eyes. It's kind of like, man, I can swipe myself. I can swipe myself through these situations. You see what I'm saying?
You inspiring the shit out of me, bro.
Right.
For real.
You see what I'm saying?
Nah,
So it's kind of like a lot, like the marketing piece is a good thing, but it's kind of like you have to find that correct machine for your numbers.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You want to market yourself, you want to do that, but you got to find the correct machine.
Right.
And then you got to find the right people.
Yeah.
Not saying that people aren't, but like a lot of people, like when money gets into it,
and
and
get
a lot of people gonna hear the same thing. They're gonna hear the same thing in this interview that a lot of people say. It's factual. But a lot of people let money get in the way of them. It's just like with me, and I'm dealing with someone. It's kind of like, okay, hey, I got to spend $5,000. I got to spend $10,000. It's kind of like, I don't mind doing that. But if you're willing to burn a bridge with me for $5,000 or $10,000,
right?
That's it. It's like a one and done thing with me. It ain't gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt me because I know how to get money.
Right.
Like I really do this.
Right.
Like I really grind. Like when I put hashtag grind God, I really do this. Right. I will grind 20 hours a day, sleep 4 hours, and repeat myself. Yeah. And then maybe I do that for 5 days, rest 48. And I'm back to it. Kind of like a truck driver. I'm kind of like a truck driver, but I'm not driving trucks. You see what I'm saying? Like real talk. Even though you're supposed to get, even though with truck drivers you get more than that, you get 8 hours.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, but it takes that. It takes that sacrifice because again, now you see what I just said. Now if we went back to the beginning of the conversation where I'm talking about the generational wealth, what some people have over our people. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of like if you did it the correct way, it's kind of like, no, I'm not saying that, oh, well, everybody didn't grow up, or everybody didn't have that, we grew up poor. I was like, yeah, you did. But at the same time, your people had the opportunity to take off. My people never had the opportunity then. I mean, that's just being straight up.
Being for real.
Yeah, just being straight up. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm learning and I'm bringing that to the surface. You see what I'm saying? Like my mother and father, they worked hard.
Right.
But you know, like did what they had to do.
Right.
But it's kind of like they still didn't go off and take off. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They did what they had to do. It's like, hey, this is what you got to do. And then it's kind of like, all right, like they got tired of it. So it's kind of like I'm still work my way up, and I work my way up. You see what I'm saying? I'm straight.
As an artist, like for like with everything you got going on and you're doing, which all of it is a blessing. Is great to see. Like what keeps you going? Like what would you say to like somebody that's watching this that's as inspired as I am sitting here with you, to like what keeps you going? What just keep you moving forward?
Moving forward, man. It's kind of like stop. It's kind of like when I start something, like, you know, I've never seen it where like my like people in my family just said, man, I like just gave up on something. Yeah. More than just like, hey, I'm selling this. Yeah. That's different. It's kind of like where they gave up on it, they just let it crash. Yeah. Nah. I've never seen that out of my family. So it's kind of like, I'm not trying to disappoint my last name. Yep. I'm not trying to have a bad stamp on my last name.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's kind of like, that's what keeps me going. It's just like and the grind is kind of like, and like you have to, this stuff takes years and years and years. Indeed. I've told, like, I was doing on this where like, as far as like finances, I was in the finances when I turned 17. You see what I'm saying? So my uncle, he was in the financial game. That's who put me on this financial stuff. So I would index funds, mutual funds, and all that. I had that when I was 17. So my grandmother, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying, love her to death. Yep. She signed. She had to be my basically like a co-signer. Yeah. When I had an index fund because you had to be 18. Yeah. So I was a year off. So I went ahead and got that when I was 17 years old. Right. So that's what got me into finances and doing that. And then once I came into like a job, I told one of my guys, I was like, hey man, like I was talking to him about compound interest, right, and what it does. But we young, so we like 19, 20 years old.
Right. And they worry about the club every Saturday.
Right. But he also said this, and this is what I'm just like, And it made me laugh now because I'm like, man, people
Yeah.
still saying the same thing. He was like, if that money double like that, everybody be doing it. And it made me laugh so hard. I'm like, no, they won't. They still not
They're
doing it.
still not
And
doing
I
it.
told them, and this was like 12 years ago.
Right.
People still not doing it.
And
And
that's
then I
crazy.
had a conversation with him like a year and a half ago. I was like, hey man, remember I tell you about that compound interest back in
Yeah.
2009, 2010?
Yeah.
But he changed the subject. He didn't want to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I was like, but you see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Where he would have been at now?
Right. But it just takes like the grind, like being like what I've learned. I feel like I'm a late bloomer. I feel like, you know, that everything you saying, I agree. Um, and you wouldn't have been able to grab me at 18. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I wish I surrounded myself with the people I'm surrounding myself with now. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I feel like a grind and success, however it looks to you or
Yep.
to me, it takes with accepting a level of
Yep.
uncomfortability. Like you
Yep.
said, we worried about the fancy cars, the clothes, and all that stuff.
Yep.
Like now, I don't, you know,
Right.
I got what I got,
But yeah, go
you
ahead,
know
go
what I'm
ahead,
saying?
go ahead,
Like,
go ahead.
but now, like, there's a mission, there's a focus I
Yeah.
need to put into it, and there's some wants,
Yep.
and I know what I need to do,
Right.
and that's prioritizing, and you know what I'm
Right.
saying. So I feel like we didn't have that, like,
Right. That's
and I'm talking about Black people.
yeah.
We don't have priorities, but like
Yep.
priorities in the Black household is a little it looks different. It looks different.
It's the but it's that programming.
Yes, sir.
It's the program. Like you turn on the TV and you see Black people on TV. It's
Yep.
about cars, jewelry.
Yep.
The household
Right.
is disconnected. Oh no, it's not a mother and father in the house. It's kind of
Right.
like the majority of what you see on TV. Not
Right.
saying everything is like that, but the majority of TV is kind of like it presents itself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, with that being said, it's kind of like you have to. That's what I'm saying. You have to be in control of your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are not in control of their own mind. They don't even know it.
Right.
Because they don't even know if they can walk yet. They will be laying in bed. They don't know if they can walk yet. They can't even feel their legs yet, and they on social media before they even get out of bed. They don't even know if they can walk.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like they roll over.
Right. That's the first thing you do.
You see what I'm saying?
So I want you to tell us, right? I want you to tell us. So we talking about the financial literacy piece, your music, and your upbringing. How does your view on education? Because I know you're a pretty educated man. How does that add into? I could figure out how it adds into financial literacy and things like that. But as far as a music artist, you think it helped you and assisted you, and you believe that all music artists should be properly educated?
Yes. And I'm not saying that they had to get degrees.
Right.
But you need to know what the business is. And that's what any business.
Mm-hmm.
The music business, that's what any business that you go into because you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people, I don't want it to be where I'm trying to break down like that right there. That financial literacy, that was just like the surface.
Yeah.
Now I'm going more in depth. Like my next project is more in depth.
Yeah.
Every time you see the name of a song, only thing you have to do is research the name. Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And you research the title of the song.
Right.
It's like, that's what he's talking about. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving game in my songs. I feel like that's what it's free game.
Right. Right.
It's kind of like I just said, you click the link, consulting fee, we can talk more. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's kind of like that's what education is I feel like it's very, very beneficial.
Right.
And I'm not saying school. You don't have to go to school to be educated.
Right.
But I feel like all the stuff like you need to research, you need to actually break down
whatever
you're getting into.
Whatever you get.
Whatever you need to break it down and get better at it.
Right.
It's whatever you do. If you drive dump trucks, get all the certifications for you to drive dump trucks. If you throw garbage, get whatever certification you can get to be cream of the crop and doing throwing garbage.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's another thing. Like, you're not gonna see music artists. Like, it's only it's probably a few far in between music artists that just live regular.
Right.
Like, I'm still gonna be this way. That's kind of like I feel like the closest person that's probably gonna be to me would be like J. Cole.
Right.
J. Cole lived normal, man. He lived a normal life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
my
saying?
favorite artist too.
And there's a couple of artists like, like that make decent amount of money. Like I just said, like I make a decent amount of money without the music.
Right.
Like real talk, just because I hustle, I grind, like I really get to it.
Right.
So it's kind of like that's why it's like it's a couple of artists like I folk like Don Tripp. He going crazy right now. Cat out of Memphis artist. He dropped a tape every month this year. So we in what, month 8?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we in month 8 or month 9
month
now.
9.
It's
We're
one
9,
coming at the
yeah.
end of the month. Like, you look him up, Don Tripp. He dropped a tape every month this month,
fire.
every month this year. Then Starlito, that's another guy. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, they just like, they regular guys, but they have conscious music.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Another cat, Larry June, like conscious music,
Right.
where it's just like it makes you think. You know what I mean?
Right.
Currency the same way. Like, they make you think about
Right.
what you like, or what you doing. Conway the Machine. I like Conway the Machine. Like a couple of artists where it's just like boom, where they're tailored. But these guys that I'm naming have been in the game for a long time.
Right.
And it takes that. A lot of people think that this is a young person game. I'm like, this is anybody's game.
Yeah.
You be 60 still doing
Yeah,
this. Like,
you
if you're
could.
talking about something that's beneficial, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, man, you can break down these songs and I'll tell you what it is. Like, you
Right.
really do. It's just like, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of people, they lose the edge and they lose because they're just like, oh, I'm too. No, you're not.
Right.
Not too old, man. I
Mm-hmm.
tell people that, man, you're not old until you're 80.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're 80, then it's like, okay, you got it.
Right.
When you're 80, you got it. All right, I got you. You know what I
Nah,
mean? But other
man.
than that, it's free game out here,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
It's
Man.
free
You dropping
game out
gems.
here.
Bravo OneHunnit dropping gems. Tell us about your record label and what's next for y'all. What you hope, what direction y'all trying to go in and things like that.
Man, like, so STFONT, man, it's stay focused. So
Stay
where I
focused.
got that from, like, stay focused, like my father, I had a shirt and it had like Shaq dunking on it. Like, you could see like the emblem on it. It was a gray shirt with blue letters.
Right.
And you could see that it was Shaq dunking.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you knew back then when he was with the Orlando Magic,
Right.
you could see that it's him.
Yeah,
You
right.
see
Right.
what I'm saying? Just a silhouette.
Right.
So it had stay focused on it. And like, I used to wear that shirt and my dad was like, you always need to understand it. And I actually got a tat on his stay focused right there.
Yes,
You
sir.
see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
it's kind of like, that's where that came from. That's where the label came from. It's kind of like, let's stay independent, but it's kind of like looking for like a partnership
Mm-hmm.
with like a big machine.
Right.
And I'm good.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do anything like sign with big
Right.
labels and
Right.
stuff like that, because it's kind of like you have to do what they want you to do.
Right.
It's kind of like, and that's not the
You
direction
kinda
I want to
know-
go in. I
right.
want to move
You wanna
in
speak
my
how you
own
speak,
direction to
yeah.
kind of and speak in terms of not having continue to keep our people lost.
Right.
I want them to, understand stuff and just like, hey, man, go ahead, listen to this, listen to that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And like trying to move them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like, that's just like a lot of people don't understand that child development centers,
Yeah.
YMCA,
Mhm.
Boys and Girls Club,
Mhm.
that's a big factor.
Mhm.
Because you in households that I came up in, mother and father worked.
Right. Yes, sir.
So mother, father work, you know what I'm saying? You're a latchkey kid. So it's kind of like you coming home, you go
Yep.
into the house, lock the door behind you,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
your homework done, and
Yep.
turn on the TV.
Yep.
So it's kind of like those development centers like YMCAs and stuff like that. Like in my city, all the YMCAs are closed down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They got 2 Boys and Girls Clubs in the entire city. So
Right.
why did you shut down all the YMCAs, but all the YMCAs on the outskirts are open?
Right.
So it's kind of like, why you take them out of the Jackson community? You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like I put things together, and it's just like it just makes me think.
Yeah.
Where it's just like misappropriating funds, but you putting the funds on the outside
Right.
YMCA. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of like,
That's where
yeah,
the
I
focus
can
at.
do stuff like where it's just like the next thing is people say, well, why don't you go open up one? I was just like, okay, so what you want me to do? Open up one all over the world?
Yeah.
What you want? You want me to keep opening up one? I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to open up one all over the world.
Right.
So it's kind of like I wanted to pay attention. Where it's just like, hey, people like y'all pay attention to certain things. It's just like, don't worry about drama on
Right.
social media. I'm like, pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right. Because
pay
if we all stay in focus,
focus.
if we all stay in focus and we all on the same type of time, then what can we create together?
Right.
Right.
A lot of people they can't do that. A lot of people don't, because they look at the now. A lot of people want to be benefiting off now. A lot of people want, like I said, a facade. People want to, man, it's this. They don't understand, man. This stuff,
man.
all this stuff takes time. It's okay to look good. It's okay to look good and to have nice things. If that's
Right.
what you're into, you shouldn't be doing stuff for other people to be like, oh, he's on.
Right.
It should be for you. You like vehicles. I'm not gonna lie. I grew up liking cars.
Right.
I love vehicles. That's my thing. Like whoever would like, I love cars.
Right.
Anybody who knows me, like, yeah, he like cars. That's what he's into. But all the other stuff is kind of like clothes and stuff. That's cool, but it's kind of like I can't like. I've never just been where it's just like, okay, I can do all that, but I'm also putting up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also saving. I'm also doing this.
Right.
It's just like that's just like life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand. Like 56% of Americans don't have life insurance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, don't even have that.
This
And a
is
lot of
true.
people don't understand. It was like, well, it don't benefit me. You see what I'm saying? Certain
Why
stuff
don't
that
it
you
better?
deal with.
Yeah,
You see
like,
what I'm
why?
saying? Like,
Yeah,
and
that's
they don't understand, man, that you leave the
right.
people behind you
Mhm.
with less worries than you.
Right.
And you have to set that baseline, set that blueprint
Right.
for them to follow and understand that this stuff takes hard work, but it's gonna be easier.
Right.
The more that, and then if you don't let up, the next generation don't let up,
Mhm.
then it just gets better and better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I feel like I agree. Like when I changed, because I used to like, that's why I asked that question about music, how making was popular and things like that. Like when I changed my views on my art
Yeah.
and how I see my craft, it definitely, because I would go into phases where I wouldn't make songs because I wanted the one song to pop,
Right.
and that's the wrong thing to do. And
Right.
I had to go back and I had to be like, yo, why am I doing this again? Why'd you start this again? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ask yourself the hard questions. People
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
They don't sit there and have those conversations with themselves. They're like, why'd you start making music again? You started making music because this was your voice. This was you. No, you felt like nobody heard you. So why make what everybody else is saying? Like that's why I came up with Saturday Who, because it's like a mindset.
Yeah.
Like once you change your mindset and then you change your habits and then you become consistent in those habits
Yeah.
and then you happy with those habits,
Yep.
like my life, my whole view on everything changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like, I feel you 100%. Stay
Right.
focused, stay focused. And
Yep.
every day I just try to figure out like, how can I work harder and what changes do I need to make in me to be the man that I see myself being? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, for me, like nothing matters. No, nothing matters about who I am until I'm about to take that last breath.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's that everything up until that point, people gonna remember me at that last breath, or what, you know what I'm saying, what I've done, the impact that I've had and things like that. So like I'm just like every day I should be working to be the best man I can be before I take that last breath. You know what I'm saying? So and that
Fact.
comes with the podcast, the music, education, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for music? What's next?
Man, next, man, I'm working on. Well, I'm not really working. I've already like really got the next project already in motion. So it's kind of like it's just more breakdown, more detail about
you putting out a full album.
Yeah, just
Okay.
another financial literacy. But before then, I think I'm gonna put it through in a little entertainment, a single.
Yes, sir.
Something like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm gonna throw in another single. I'm about to drop this video with financial literacy. I did earn, but I'm about to drop borrow. I do like a little snippet. So I'm about to drop that. Probably this coming up week.
We
So
ready
I can,
for it.
you know, go ahead and get that done. And then after that, I'm gonna end up dropping a single. And then I'm gonna drop another project before this year is out.
So overall, what you want? What you want the people to take away? The Saturday Who, the Bravo One, the Cold Night fans. Like, what you want them to take away from you?
Man, I want them to understand that, man, like whatever you're doing, man, you have to stay focused. Like you can't like the mission is never done. That's another thing. Even when you get to where you're going, like the mission is never done. You have to go harder. But never let anything like throw you off, and then it's kind of like you get discouraged because things are not going the exact way you planned it. If you keep going, you keep pushing, and you speak yourself and act yourself into where you're trying to go, and it'll always work out. And always remember that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to, like, the key thing is you have to keep a cash flow. Keep a cash flow, and as you getting a 9-to-5, do that. You know what I'm saying? So you can keep that cash flow and get to where you're trying to go. But don't work all your life for someone else and not satisfy your own self by doing what you really want to do in life. You see what I'm saying? So
I appreciate that,
yeah.
bro.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yo, we
Yes,
got
sir.
Bravo OneHunnit, Saturday Who podcast. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Appreciate you for coming through, big bro. We're going to have all your links up. Hopefully when we release this episode, you got the new music out. We'll put the links in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro.
All
Saturday
right.
Who out.
And I mean, another key in this game is that borrowing process. But you gotta prioritize yourself. Man, you gotta learn. That's one of the keys to this game. You know what I mean?
It's a burner beat.
Walk down 200, salute the chase, but BOA, we thinking bigger mathematics. It's a must to have the Amex. Quick flight to the A to C. see the fam, then I'm back on. Yeah, you know I'm back on. Walk down 200, salute to Chase, but BOA, we thinking bigger mathematics. It's a must to have the Amex, quick flight to the A to see the fam, then I'm back on. For real, you know I'm back on. Yeah, for real. Phone blowing about this math and how to increase it sound good, but give me detail. What's the APR, you feel me? What's required to obtain so I can scope? Spend my own money, you crazy, unless it's necessary. Look at my private expenses. Bank statements show my worth. I gotta go hard, I trust myself, but see this wealth, it take time. Keep going, Bravo, you see the vision. Flight to Greece is 8 decision. Muscle memory back to 96. One thought made it happen. When dominoes success driven in my blood, but it's all mug up. They don't like my give a shoulder shrug. Been with lions and bears since I was a cub, observing everything. I ain't quick to hug, but it's love. But I'm careful, you gotta know I walk life for a reason. Through it all, I seen acts so egregious.